Today it's worth $4 million. Ken Squire welcoming you aboard with our TBS coverage, and to Dick Berggren, what an all-star cast we've got for this one.
It really is. There are so many young drivers in the field today. Drivers like Ricky Johnson, who has landed a ride with Penske Racing, an ex-motorcycle champion out of the AMA. Broke his wrist, couldn't operate the throttle. He learned to drive a stock car, did so well he impressed Penske, and he is going to try to do as well as another young driver who has landed a top ride. Jack Sprague ran trucks all last year with the best finish of 4th. But this year, he came out of the trailer blazing and bonsaied his way to a near win at Homestead. Driving the number 24, he gave it all he had as he crashed through the last lap to a second-place finish. It was as close to a big league win as he ever had. Then, a month later, at Phoenix, he started on the front row, led 3/4 of the race, and took his first big league checkered flag. He's the points leader today, the man to beat.
And the man to beat starts 7th today. Jack Sprague, this is a tough half-mile track. What do you have today?
Well, it really is. You know, there's awful lot of good trucks here this weekend, and they're all running really well. If anybody's going to win this race, they're going to have to outrun that 98 truck. That's my feeling, but you know, we're going to run along here, and we've been struggling a little bit and see if we can get the Quaker State Chevrolet a good finish and go on to the next one.
Let's go up to the front of the pack where Randy Pemberton has some very big motorsports news.
Well, this is a significant day in American motorsports for several reasons. The guy on the pole today is Rich Bickle. It's his first pole ever in the Craftsman NASCAR Truck Series, and he's done it in a Petty Enterprises Dodge. As far as Petty Enterprises is concerned, it's their first pole since winning one back at Bristol in August of '79 with the King behind the wheel. Now for Dodge, they get to celebrate here in Portland today with the King and Rich Bickle because it's their first pole ever since way back in 1978 when they also did it at Bristol in April.
And in 1978, the man that did it was our colleague here for many years and one of the all-time NASCAR best, the late Neil Bonnet. Coming up, the starting grid for today's Craftsman 200 by Dodge.
The Craftsman 200 on TBS is brought to you by Beechwood.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in with me one more time our Grand Marshal today, 7-time Winston Cup champion Richard Petty, to utter those famous words in motor racing.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
Folks, yesterday, Ron Hornaday Jr. was in Sears Point, California, filling in for the injured Ricky Craven in qualifying for that Winston Cup race. Well, Ron Hornaday busted a lap. He qualified 3rd in front of his boss, Dale Earnhardt. Now, Dale couldn't have been too upset about it because you see Ron Hornaday getting off his private jet. He flew up here to Portland, hustled to the racetrack. NASCAR gave him 3 laps of practice, and he qualified 11th. Tonight, he goes back to Sears Point.
Fill in for Ricky Craven. After Craven gets the start, he'll have to pull to the back of the field, and Hornaday will be something for the fans to watch down at Sears Point. Let's go to the starting grid for today's truck race here. It's Rick Bickle on the pole in that Dodge, and alongside comes Ron Barfield, the freshman for Bill Elliott. In row 2 today, you've got Brian Reffner, last year's ASA champion, and the 3-time ASA champion, Butch Miller. Row 3, defending NASCAR Truck Series king, Mike Skinner. Then the 89 ARCA Series champion, Bob Keselowski. Row 4 today, Jack Sprague, winner 2 weeks ago at Phoenix, and that great driver from Virginia, Jimmy Hensley. Rick Corelli, the former Winston West and Southwest champion, starts in the 9th position, and outside of row 5 is Bill Sedgwick, the 2-time NASCAR Winston West champion for Darrell Waltrip's team. In row 6, Ron Hornaday and Doug George. In row 7 today, the former USAC Midget and Silver Crown champion Mike Bliss and the Formula 2000 Series champion a year ago, Lance Norick out of Oklahoma City. In row 8, it's Dave Resendez, who won at Homestead, and John Nemechek. In row 9, Ernie Cope and Bob Gill. Row 10 today is Kevin Harvick, youngest driver in the field at 20, and Joe Ruttman, the runner-up in the standings a year ago. Row 11 is Rick Johnson, the two-time World Supercross champion, and Bobby Brevac, the 1990 ARCA champion. Row 12 is Dan Press, and alongside is Butch Gillian. Row 13, NASCAR West 1994 champion Mike Chase and Ken Allen. Steve Portengay is on the inside of row 14, the former Southwest Tour champion, and Dan Obrist going to row 15, 57-year-old Walker Evans, the 18-time winner at Baja, and Mike Hurlbert. And rounding out the field, provisional starters, Mike Doken, sophomore from Florida, and Lonnie Cox, a 27-year-old rookie out of Colorado.
Got a bunch of people in this field who have won races here before. Mike Bliss has won here before. Doug George, Dan Press, Mike Skinner, Ernie Cope, and Mike Chase have all won on this historic flat half mile.
And there you see Mike Bliss onboard camera, starting in 13th position. He has a roof camera as well. Take a look at that gander. And that's looking out the back. Going to Refner. He will carry a camera today. Brian Refner. Another great driver out of Wisconsin Rapids, and there you see his roof cam giving you a look as they come out of that turn 2 into the narrow back straightaway and looking off the tail end of his truck. You got a side view in there too, and guess who's there? Butch Miller. He was as quick as anything here in practice on this half mile. Here's Ron Hornaday, who's really having a busy time. Hornaday down there qualifying for Ricky Craven yesterday at Sears Point, and back ready to go today. Giving you this view. Boy, this is an exciting old track. And let's not forget Chase. Mike Chase out here starting 25th. Give us some great pictures out of the back. Here in the shadow of the Cascade Mountains, this beautiful green countryside. Portland, Oregon's where the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is today.
That camera is so low, it's almost right on the racetrack itself, but it'll give you a good idea as this race unfolds as to just how fast these trucks are at Portland.
Well, they started the season at that super new track down there in Dade County, Florida, in Miami at Homestead. What a magnificent facility that. Then they moved from the 1.5 miles down to the mile when they went out to Phoenix, Arizona. Great track that Buddy Job has. And now we're back to real roots racing. Half mile and one of the most famous. Art Pollard, Len Sutton, Shorty Templeman, all those guys. The Sneva gang, the Bounds, they all cut their teeth in this track. There is the blackberry bush camera, folks, and there'll be somebody in there before the day is over.
This track is ringed with blackberry bushes. If you live in the south, you know all about kudzu. If you live in the northwest, it's blackberry bushes, and that stuff is what retains the trucks and keeps them on the racetrack. We hope.
Yeah, fat chance.
I wonder how long that camera's going to last, Ken. 3
caution laps, and then they're going to turn them loose. Speed on pit road, which is up here in turns 3 and 4 at about 35 miles per hour today. 101 laps marks the first half of the race. Approximate 10-minute break, halftime, and then back for the second half. Dennis Huth and company have done a great job with this series and cost containment on tires. They're running their qualifying tires as they get ready to go, and Randy can tell you more about tires.
Well, it certainly is, Ken. They start on the tires that they qualified. 3 sets heading in. Now they'll get another set at halftime. As a matter of fact, the guys will have to go and pick them up, bring them over. So at halftime and the mandatory break, they'll change to the next set. The tires are very, very good here. The drivers are liking them. It is a 5-lap penalty to change any tires other than that set at halftime. But this is the tire that was used in the Winston Cup ranks at Martinsville just a couple of weeks ago. They used 5 different compounds for these guys at their various short track races around the country, and they really like this one that they're on here today. They're warming them up as they bob back and forth.
Coming down for a green flag, and we're ready to put this one underway. And Dodge leads the field in. Ford on the outside, the Elliott colors, number 94, go right out in front in turn number 2. Now into this very narrow backstretch, 580 feet long. And take a look at Ron Barfield Jr. Make that move, pull that number 94 up in front. F-150 leads, truck number 94. And as they come down to number 1, Bickle back in that second spot. Still 199 to go. A lot of trucking to do here today.
Barfield last weekend was in Talladega, one of the fastest racetracks in all the world, certainly fastest in the United States. He was running an ARCA car for Bill Elliott, got himself all the way up to 4th before the transmission failed.
You saw right there, Butch Miller has pulled up into 3rd. Number 98. Miller getting around Brian Refner. And there's Refner taking a shot at Butch Miller.
I like both those truck drivers' chances today, Ken. Butch Miller has won lots and lots of races at a racetrack that used to be called Mount Clemens. It was just like this place. Refner, in whose truck you're riding right now, has a 4th and a 5th in this series as we watch Mike Skinner closing the gap on him.
Indeed, he says this track, Miller says this track is the twin sister to the old Mount Clemens track. And there's others that say it handles like Ileana. Now take a look here at this battle for the lead. A lot of pressure being exerted. Nice start. Underway, running into lap 5 with 32 trucks on board. Here comes Bickle. Gets his nose out. He gave it a good shot. Goes all the way around. Tries to pick it up. No caution as yet. No caution as yet. They get it going. Keep it under green. Wild racing going into number 3. You almost are forced to take a double cut to get in there. He thought he had his bumper in it. He could carry the whole truck through. It didn't work for Bickle, so now he's got some going to do. Check on his positions. He heads down the backstretch, tries to move under Homestead winner Resendez. He's back in 11th spot, spinning again. Second time around for Bickle. Caution out this time.
And the same place on the racetrack, Ken.
Identical. Yep. Went in, just tapped the brakes going in there, and this time collects a few, or they got on the binders. Don't think there's much damage. Perhaps the 73 may have taken a hit out there indeed. Dan Over's car looks like it's got some sheet metal damage in the back. Field moving away.
Ricky Johnson was in that. So was Joe Rutman in the number 80 truck. 75, Bobby Gill's truck was in it.
But the Cummings Engine Company Dodge twice does a big Gilhooly down here in turn number 3 in this half mile and brings out the first caution of the day at lap 6. Now let's watch that first one again, Dick Berggren.
Well, it's Bickle on the bottom, Barfield on the top, and it looks like Bickle just plain oversteered a bit going into the corner, and around she goes. Bickle trying to get Barfield on the bottom.
Now take a look at the second spin. And remember, this guy has some 225 short track wins over the past 19 years. He knows how to get around these things. Gets trapped there on Resendez, and around he goes the second time, and this one brings out the caution as he comes up into the high groove, and they have to get on the binders.
Doug George
bring out the flag.
Yeah, Doug George just managed to get through there.
We'll take a quick break and be back once again. Plenty of action here in Portland, Oregon, as the trucks are moving out today.
I can't believe I'm losing my hair back here.
Like father, like son.
Yeah, right.
Look, if you want to regrow some hair, check this out.
Rogaine? Don't you need a prescription?
Not anymore.
How's it work? Rogaine goes to the root of your hair, and for some people, gets it to grow.
What have you got to lose?
Nothing, I guess, except more hair.
That's been easy to use.
And it's starting to work.
See, there's room for growth in every relationship.
Rogaine, medically proven to regrow hair.
Want to make painting easier? Change your roller to a Wagner cordless power roller. There's less mess, less hassle, and less bending over because you control the flow of paint. So you can just keep on rolling. In fact, with the power roller and its accessories, you'll get professional results nearly twice as fast. It even turns cleanup into an easy job. So get a cordless power roller from Wagner and transform every room in your house.
No automotive company has won more races over the last 30 years than Chevrolet.
Oh, well, I'm the kind of life that helps to get you going. When you're on your own out on the road, it's such a comfort knowing you got the snake light from Black & Decker. I get around, I'm the snake light.
Chances are it will outlast your car and your furnace, and your roof. There's no telling what your mowing faucet might outlast. Mow it. Buy it for looks. Buy it for life.
TBS Awards Saturday. Tonight, a gripping account of undersea terror. Das Boot. The biggest night of movies on the biggest night of the week. TBS Awards Saturday, 10:05 Eastern tonight, only on TBS.
Welcome back to Portland for the NASCAR Craftsman Series 200, and we're under our first caution of the day. Bobby Gill sits on pit road with a heavily damaged truck. Joe Ruttman has been on pit road, as well as our pole sitter, Rich Bickle. And Steve Burns, do you have anything on Richard Petty? I know he's been overlooking that car pretty heavily.
Randy, they're going to bring Rich back in. There's a lot of sheet metal damage to the right rear quarter panel. We can't tell if the structure, the undercarriage, is damaged. Richard just talked to Rich Bickle when he came in, but it looks like they're going to bring him in again. We'll give you another report as soon as we know what's going on.
Well, there's Richard conducting things on that Cummins number 43 out of Petty Enterprises, and they go to work on the backside of that. They tried to miss each other, but they didn't. Joe Ruttman got bent up, and we've got another gander of what happened over here in turn number 3.
Now Bickle on the bottom, Resendez on the top, and just like the first time around, boom, there goes Bickle trying to get that truck into the third turn. Doesn't quite make it. This time, however, he throws out a lot of smoke, blocks the racetrack with his truck, and you see him piling in behind. So Bobby Gill in that 75 truck, that's the one that was so heavily damaged, Ken.
Had so much rain. I mean, tons of rain here in the past several days. So that outside groove has almost no stickum left. They've washed that thing down dry. We'll take another quick break and then be back as 3 Fords are out in front. The first Chevy is Skinner as we get set for more action. Restart. Way on the tail end of this thing will come Joe Ruttman's number 80, 29th position. He's kind of torn up in there. There you see Mike Bliss's number 2. And there's the 80 of Ruttman. And you can see that the right front fender area took a little abuse. And right behind him, as they get set on a restart, in 30th position will be the guy that was up on the pole, Rich Bickle. He's about 38 seconds back from the leader as we get ready to go again.
This is the 111th different track Rich Bickle has raced on in his 20-year career, and I bet he's going to remember this one real well, Ken Squire.
Yeah, there's one he'd like to forget?
I think so.
Steve Burns is down there with the one and only. Steve?
Richard Petty was just looking at the damage, and you talked to Rich. Is the truck okay, or is it just sheet metal?
Yeah, well, it's just sheet metal right now. He went in there and hit some of that oil. Then he got going again, went back and hit it again. And, you know, it just naturally spun out. But I guess it maybe flat spot at the tires, but we can't change the tires now. So, but as far as the suspension stuff, we'll kill it.
Okay, it's a big day for Petty Enterprises, and Bickle's still on the lead lap.
Showing one car a lap down, one truck a lap down. That's Bobby Gill and Chevy number 75. So we've got 31 cars lined up on the outside, and then there's the Gill down on the inside in those blue and white colors. And here you see number 94 for a rookie. Some start to this season. As Barfield brings him on, Ron Barfield Jr. with 2 great finishes thus far on the season. His first outings, a 4th at Homestead, an 8th at Phoenix. Here is some kind of super talent. Bill Elliott's team has first place, and he dives into that first corner with a 3-car length advantage over Butch Miller in the 98. Ford's up in front.
And this Barfield is clearly Bill Elliott's protege. He says he is going to school with Elliott, learning all there is to learn. For today's truck.
Ron Hornaday giving us these pictures from 5th position right in front of him. Skinner, the guy who blew this race out last year. Yesteryear, one time back. No contest on this one. Skinner led flag to flag.
But he doesn't have as good a deal this time, Ken. His qualifying time, incredibly, this time was exactly the same, right to the 100th of a second. But he doesn't like his truck as well. He says it's either loose or it pushes him. He can't get it just right. His goal today, bring it home in the top 5 in one piece. Now, that's not the way Mike Skinner ordinarily enters a race.
Keselowski back in 6th spot is the first Dodge, and working on him is the drifter, Rick Carilli out of Denver, Colorado. A great track up there in Denver, and the trucks will be there a little later this season. Hornaday moving from 11th up to 5th in 9 green flag laps. He's on a roll. There's Butch Miller in 2nd. Here's Refner coming right with him in 3rd. They're the top 3 out of turn 4. Over the manhole cover and down the main straightaway. Rough old track, particularly rough, right here going into 132. You can't see it in the picture, but you can feel it in the small of your spine when you're jolted through in these 3,400-pound, 112-inch trucks.
Puts a lot of emphasis on the driver. The driver has got to be able to keep control of that truck, keep it down low. Here's a look from Bliss's truck at Jack Sprague, who won the last time the truck was out. First big league race he ever had.
He's in 8th place right now.
And running well.
That's the Quaker Stake. 4x4. Jack Sprague, what a super talent. And notice how gingerly he handles this thing. Remember, you're playing with 600 horsepower on a half-mile track. It's so hard to hitch up. Regular runners might even look better sometimes than the traveling shows coming to town. They've only got 350, 400 power. But these guys, they're looking terrific out here. Coming by. Here you see Mike Bliss in the number 2. Great midget champion, Silver Crown champion, those open wheelers.
He has won at this racetrack again in sprint cars, in supercars, in midgets, and in stock cars. He is the most victorious of all the drivers in the field today.
If you're just joining us, NASCAR has come to the Northwest. We're in Portland, Oregon. This is live, and we're watching the Truck Series for 96 at its best. We've now completed some 22 laps. Out in front is the rookie, Ron Barfield. Take a look at Skinner closing in on Refner. Boy, Brian Refner out of Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. And you've got Mike Skinner back there in that number 3. He has the look and the feel of an Earnhardt when he settles into that race car.
Yeah, but this guy Refner has got a lot of cool about him, even though this is his first year in the NASCAR Series. At Homestead, he started 26th and soldiers his way all the way up to 5th. At Phoenix, he started 22nd and finished 4th. He knows how to pass other trucks. He knows how to keep his cool. But boy, Skinner is right back there, and I am sure Refner is watching him in the rearview mirror. Truck owned in part by Ernie Irvin, that number 44. Truck right behind him is owned by Richard Childress.
Scramble going on right here for 3rd spot. Out of 4 down this main straightaway. A little wider here in the front chute than it is on the back side. About 540 feet and you're back into it again.
Boy, Skinner is just worrying Refner half to death. Look at this. He is all over the back end of that truck.
Got himself a hole on the inside. Dives for turn 3. Refner cuts him off.
Got to get right beside him here before you own that part of the corner.
Look at Mike Bliss moving up. Mike Bliss is moving in. Hornaday is moving in. Mike Bliss is really crowding his luck on Jack Sprague right now. I thought he was going to 40 as it came down the main straightaway. Steve Burns in the pits today. Give us more.
Down here in between turns 3 and 4, and we can see how Mike Skinner is getting it done. He has that number 3 truck absolutely nailed to the bottom of the racetrack. Let's see if we can see him this time around.
Clear. Front, we got a change of leadership. Butch Miller slams his way. The 98 up through, but right back comes Barfield. Hornaday coming along with Skinner. 4-car battle for the lead. How about that?
Change all of a sudden. Boom, the whole front of the field turns around when Butch Miller tries to take the lead and loses control of his truck.
And Barfield, steady, collected. Boy, he reminds you of Bill Elliott there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he sure does. He doesn't get nothing bothers Barfield. He just hangs in.
Remember, you're carrying about 115 miles an hour at the end of that sprint.
Nice smooth lap, Ron. Save those tires.
To carry it and give you that story, but there it is, and you get a real sense here, perhaps, as Skinner closes in. He gets a shot now. That's Ron Barfield Jr. Barfield's only second in those rookie points. There's Hornaday right behind him. What a job. Remember that Hornaday came out of 11th starting spot. He's been on a roll.
Skinner is so impressive this afternoon. He has not run this well in any of practice and qualifying. And after they did their last practice session this morning, they changed 2 shock absorbers in that truck, changed the lead weight around it, changed the anti-roll bar. Skinner just shook his head and knew he wasn't going to like it. Well, I bet he likes it pretty well right now. He is running in a solid second position.
55. Fallen into the fourth position. Refner is in fifth. And traveling sixth right now is Rick Corelli, the High Plains drifter. And back in seventh spot, there you've got Jack Sprague. This is a dandy at Portland, Oregon. And while we've been away, they have been swapping paint out here at Portland, Oregon. Ron Hornaday with a tremendous run, fighting with Skinner. And these two have got their own little civil war going on this half-mile track.
Hornaday started all the way back at 11th spot. Remember, he missed all the practice yesterday.
Take a look at some of this battle just about 3 laps back for the lead. There's Skinner. Here comes Hornaday.
Skinner's in the lead here. No, he's not. He's trying for the lead. Barfield's got the lead.
Lap car, number 11, Hurlbut going down for a second time.
3 wide in the home straightaway. Barfield now on the inside of the 94. Skinner on the outside in the 3. Skinner does what they say you can't do here at Portland. Passes on the outside end, makes it good.
Where there's no adhesion. Everybody said all morning, be very careful on the outside. You can get in real trouble here. What a shot he took. But now Hornaday has gunned him down, and Ron Hornaday takes that Napa car up and through. Hey, we've completed 43 laps thus far, just one caution. Take a look at this. Here's Rick Corelli and Ron Barfield and Butch Miller, all in it tight. This is a battle for third. Corelli has come up into third. Meanwhile, up in front, you saw Hornaday still holding on from Skinner. What a great race. We had a great one in last year on 2 occasions in this truck series that we just happened to be at. One of the best I've ever seen was at Milwaukee, Wisconsin a year ago when Dennis Setzer
still inside and you're clear.
With Hornaday third, and they fought the whole distance. This thing's is good. Look at Corelli at number 6 trying to pull away. Here comes Mike Bliss on the inside. Barfield fading high in turn 3. Here comes Butch Miller stuffing his nose to the inside. He knows how to get it done on a track this size.
And this is all for position right at the front of the track. The Deuce of Bliss is running in 4th spot. That's
good, buddy. Straight off
riding right now.
Real good.
Old-fashioned, great stock car racing. Eddie Thrapp, old friend, said the other day, and he said it so well. He said, this is what racing used to be. It's like opening up a scrapbook to the very best a few years back, and it sure is. Leaning on each other, swapping positions, slapping fenders, and take a look at number 94, Barfield, after Butch Miller at the present time. What a handful off 2.
Riding with Refner, he is currently in 7th spot. 94 right in front of him is in 6th. Whole front of the pack is all together in very heavy traffic. Lapping has begun in earnest. There's Refner.
44 is Refner. Barfield in the red number 94. Here comes Corelli. But Corelli has Mike Bliss right with him.
He got a quick glimpse there of the 98 Butch Miller. He got tangled up in that thing earlier trying to get the lead, and he's dropped back now.
Well, last year they bragged in this series about how they had a dozen legitimate racing champions. Now you've got some 15 racing champions out here today among 32 starters, and I mean legitimate champions. Guys like Mike Bliss, who've proven their credentials in the midgets and Silver Crown. A guy like this Ricky Johnson, the 2-time world Supercross champion, cutting his teeth out here and looking strong. Refner in the 44. Must be something in the water up there in Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. Man, can those
clear 50 laps to go, first half. 50 to go. I thought those
50 laps are now complete. We're halfway home in the first segment. And the story is right up in front. Hornaday fighting with Skinner. That was the battle all season long in 1995. There's Refner around the 11 going down still another lap. Resendez, who won at Homestead, Assonet, Massachusetts. Correction. Give that one to number 17. That's Bill Sedgwick, West Coast driver. Bill Sedgwick's grandparents still live up here in Portland, Oregon, driving the Darrell Waltrip rig. You see the 14, Butch Gilligan coming by. Here's Sprague and Hensley. Here's Hensley up on the outside with that Chrysler as he tries to move around. Sprague
from Sears Point, where there's a Winston Cup race, just to watch Sprague. Hensley on the outside gets it done with that Dodge truck. That's one of 5 Dodges here today.
For 9th spot. 9th place now goes to Hensley. What a run Hensley had down there at Homestead when he went all the way up into 3rd and stayed there for more than half the race. Here's the battle for 3rd place now. Here you're riding with Rick Corelli just in front. Mike Bliss right behind him. Putting a lap on Ricky Johnson in that Penske number 22.
Don Miller has come down to be Ricky Johnson's spotter. This is Johnson's first ever truck race. What a way to start with Penske Racing.
Hard to come out of something that's so light as a bike and just to 3,400 pounds of heavy trucking.
Except for the fact that last year he bought a stock car on his own and won the track championship at El Cajon Speedway, just to learn.
7 features he won down there. Got Johnson in time to come. Look out for Mike Bliss right now.
He was bad in the middle of the corner.
Still going to run 3 or 4 Silver Crown races this year, including on the 3/4 mile at Richmond, Virginia, where last year he came from out back all the way up in the 2nd spot, and then the car went away, or the tire went away. This Mike Bliss is some kind of racer. And here's Corelli just in front of him. And, of course, Corelli's won here at Portland several times in other series.
And with the team he is now with, he has won 50 poles and 50 races at 191 starts, never in a truck. That's Corelli in the 6th.
57 laps, and there goes Corelli high, down to the inside. Mike Bliss, boy, did he work that inside groove. He hooked that baby down there, and he's not letting go. Mike Bliss thunders to the inside, and in turns 3 and 4, it's Mike Bliss underway, up into 4th position. Great racing at Portland, Oregon. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series looking good. Second time today.
So I got some
this coming at lap number 86, and I think some metal came off a car, perhaps part of an exhaust header.
Did any of the crush panels get knocked out?
They're checking on the 3rd or 4th turn area of the track out here at the present time. Just happened. Right now, in the lineup, you got a couple of Chevys that are really flying up in front, then a Ford, then another Chevy. Mike Skinner has been... Now, Randy Pemberton has a story on Bill Sedgwick's Darrell Waltrip rig. Let's go down and check on that.
Ken, it's as much of an observation as anything. Watching these cars, I'm positioned down here between turns 1 and 2, and watching these trucks, I should say, go through the corner over the last 20 laps or so. Ron Hornaday's truck seems like it's got the best chassis, but Bill Sedgwick's truck is really hooked up. So Darrell Waltrip and those guys watching back in Sears Point, Sedgwick has a good chassis. He's weaved his way through the first caution and coming through the field. He started 10th. He was reeling in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place trucks. We'll have to see what he can do with them when we go back to green here in a couple of laps, but his truck looks good.
Randy, Bill Sedgwick really needs a good run. He's had terrible luck this season. In fact, I talked to Darrell Waltrip this week, and he said the team's transporter broke down on the way here. He had to borrow a tractor from Roger Penske just to get here. Furthermore, Sedgwick had an accident in practice yesterday afternoon. He knocked the radiator in, but the team worked hard to get it all set to go, and he, as you said, he's running great today.
Yeah, he didn't bruise the clip or anything, but he did bash in the nose a little. Guy stopped just in front of him out here in turn 3, and he got pinned in and wailed into the back of him. Let me correct one thing. We're at lap 66. I believe I said 86. That's incorrect. We are at lap 66, getting ready on a restart, bringing the field down by Mike Skinner, who dominated this race a year ago, comes up from 2nd spot. Right now, Ron Hornaday is the man to watch. In that Napa rig, Skinner right there in the Goodwrench machine behind him. Then comes Mike Bliss in 3rd spot.
Hornaday had opened some space between himself and Skinner before that caution flag. In fact, he had managed to put 4 lap trucks between the 2 of them. Now, Skinner's right on his back bumper.
19 trucks on the lead lap. 32 starting today. If you're just joining us here, we're at Portland, Oregon, at the half mile. Turner Sports bringing you the first of several great NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series events this year. Next week, we're out here on this northwest swing. They were in Phoenix a week ago, down in the southwest. Portland, Oregon this week. Next Saturday, Seattle, up there in Monroe, Washington, at the great Everett Evergreen Speedway, 5/8, extended out a little. Great racetrack. That's next Saturday, 3:35 Eastern, right here on Turner Sports. Look at Ron Hornaday, stretching it out a little into turn number 3. Skinner coming right after it. And Skinner, again, last year, won it all. Won 8 races last year out of the series, and he just flew on this thing. It was no contest. Today, he's got to fight for every inch, and now Ron Hornaday has the advantage. Mike Bliss right there, and Rick Corelli showing his experience on this track in 4th spot. There's Corelli in the total number 6. Once again, we'll be up and have some fun in Denver later this year. Hope you're getting a chance to see some of these races. This series is so perfect for any size racetrack. I'll tell you, you can put them on that 1.5 miles at Homestead. They'll give you some kind of show, like the one Resendez won. They were fantastic on the mile, and here on the half-mile, well, see for yourself. Only 2 cautions thus far in the event.
Now, this is really fun to watch. This is certainly Corelli's best run of 1996, staying right up there in the front of the pack. Hornaday in the 16. I wonder if as he leads this race, he is remembering back to last year's event where he finished 9th. He wound up in the blackberry bushes after tangling with another truck. Bliss knows all about that, too. Mike Bliss in the 2 truck. He one time was going down the backstretch here in a super modified. Steering wheel came off in his hand, and they say that's as deep as anybody ever penetrated the blackberries.
Don't want to make marmalade. Don't want to make checkers. There you see Butch Miller in the 98. He's in 5th spot. Right with him comes Waltrip's number 17 with Sedgwick at the controls.
Miller is working his way back toward the front after getting himself tangled up in some traffic earlier in this event. He has had a fast truck all along. Trucks wear transponders during practice.
Oh, we got trouble in turn 1. We've got 3 around, and into the wall goes Brevac backwards. Bobby Brevac's Ford. Lance Norwick, the Oklahoma City racers, come to a halt in the center of the track. The black and yellow machine, and down at the bottom, that's Danny Obrist and his Chevrolet number 73.
He's a former track champion here. Obrist is. Norwick's truck still sitting there.
Give this 27-year-old Lance Norwick a lot of credit. He's been racing in the Formula Ford 2000 series, the champion there, 27 years old, came into this series, giving it a shot. He says this is where the future is. His dad, the mayor down in Oklahoma City. And boy, the spirit of Oklahoma City is represented right here. Take the hardest blows and just come back with your chin up. Look at Resendez rig. 7 beaten up badly. More in a moment from Portland, Oregon. And by Petron Plus. Back with you once again, Portland, Oregon. And from the Chase-in truck, let's see if we can get a gander at what happened just a moment ago in turns 1 and 2.
That's Joe Ruttman right up in front, the 1-800 Roush truck. Chase now down on the bottom. We're coming into the main straightaway. This all happened in turn 1, so it's about to happen. Yahoo!
Lance Norwick getting around in the 19 and the 73 just in front of him. Somebody, ooh.
Heard that one, didn't you?
That one snapped a little, huh?
Yeah.
Half-mile action. Looked like Dan Obrist was the first round. Let's go down to the 7 truck for Resendez unit.
Crew Chief Danny Dias is here. Just talking to Dave, what seems to be the major damage?
We're not really sure. We might have some radiator damage, but nothing evident on the ground here. We've got a couple of fender brakes, might get into the tire. We need to get them back in there.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
That's caution problem.
3rd caution. We're at lap 79.
It's the 2nd race in a row. Resendez' truck has been torn up, and let me tell you what a racer this guy is. When he got torn up at Phoenix, instead of just flying home, he got in the trailer truck, and he shared driving duties. 6 hours on, 6 hours off. They drove straight back to Charlotte, fixed the truck on an all-nighter. He pulled an all-nighter, quit at 5 o'clock in the morning, put the truck in the back of the hauler, came here, and we're torn up again.
Right now, Jimmy Hensley's Chrysler is leading for the folks who follow that mark. He's in 8th spot, and Jack Sprague is struggling just behind him in 9th. The guy that's leading in points, Sprague, just behind Jimmy Hensley. He'll have a job getting by him. Just behind him is Barfield, 10th spot.
Hornaday is doing anything but struggling, and there are people place is more like a road course than an oval track. Part because turn 4 is so different than turn 1, 2, and 3. It's an almost straight turn if you look at it from an aerial point of view. And Hornaday is an absolute master at road racing. They had 2 road races for this series last year. He won both of them in this truck.
Ron Hornaday. Ron Hornaday Jr. to be specific, out in front. Ron Hornaday, he too a great Winston West champion. Mike Bliss looking at the back of that number 2, and here comes Carilli after him in the number 6. I think you're going to see a lot more out of Butch Miller in the second half of this race. He loves this track. But this is so much like Mount Clemens, he says, and I won my share there.
And he's also very, very good on long runs, Ken. And once they get done with all this crashing, which usually happens in the earlier laps of a race, Miller should come on very strong in that number 98 truck.
Well, they're showing such patience with this racetrack. And again, I can't overemphasize those 11 cautions. Now look at Miller. And here comes Sedgwick right with him.
Miller's in 5th. Sedgwick is in 6th. Miller has won in this series. He won in Colorado last year. Sedgwick is one of 2 drivers who has never won in this series, but has run every single event in the series. He has come close, but so far no checkered flag, no trophy.
The professionalism of this tour just continues to grow. 11 cautions a year ago, and now there's been 3 thus far. We're getting down towards the end of the first half. And when you bring in this much horsepower and try to make it work on a half-mile track, and you have drivers from so many different disciplines in motorsport trying to work together, that's tough. NASCAR's done a great job of keeping this organized and keeping these drivers focused on patience and respect. Give and take out here on this racetrack.
So much so this morning they got all the spotters together in the infield and they all talked to each other. And interestingly, Don Miller shared his wisdom from Winston Cup with the spotters who maybe don't have as much experience as he does. He says the most important thing you can do is keep your driver calm. And it looks like the spotters are doing their job very well today.
Here comes Miller, and looks like it's an old-fashioned chain race. Tagging right along with him comes Sedgwick. You ever go on one of those things, Dr. Bergeron?
No, thank you.
Oh, my gosh. They do some real strange racing out here in the Northwest. This is the home of the truck racing business, you know. I mean, the train racing business.
Yeah, and they also have a race here where the winner is the guy who spins the most other vehicles in that same event. That's on the quarter mile here. They don't do that on the big track.
Oh, we got trouble up in 3. Got one off in the bushes. That's number 53 down, and that's Danny Press, local driver.
Out of Bader, Washington. His first time ever on radial tires. First time ever in the truck series.
Been around for a while. Has 3 grandchildren, this fellow, Danny Press. And, of course, was a great modified driver, modified champion down in Saugus in the 80s. Got himself underway, no yellow throne. And Steve can give us a little more. He's been watching the action of 1 and 2. Stephen?
Yeah, Ken, I'm positioned down here, and he came in here hot and just lost it. It's a vulnerable spot on the racetrack, and I can't impress about how close quarters racing this really is.
Press had won 3 out of the last 4 races he had run here at Portland. He was second in the other. He knows what he's doing at this place. But right now, he's got Sedgwick jacked up right behind him, along with the 98 of Miller. Both trying to get by him.
Sedgwick made a great move on Miller. He put him in the pocket and wouldn't let him out. Yeah, he drove him right down in on the back of Danny Press, and Sedgwick made the move. Now, there's a racer that's been around some short track for a while. Sedgwick picking up that spot, and that will put him up into the 5th position. Dropping to 6 goes Miller. Back there in 7th is Refner. The 8th spot, as they come by, that belongs to Jimmy Hensley. And in 9th, still Sprague. I think you're going to see it get more intense in the second half. I think they're treating this with a lot of respect, taking their shots where they can find them. And what a beautiful move That was a picture perfect about how to park somebody on the back of a slower car and put him in the pocket.
It was. Cedric is having such a good day today, and he certainly needs it. In addition to the truck problems that they had, at Homestead they lost an engine. At Phoenix they had to start at a provisional when he spun qualifying, but he is redeeming himself this afternoon in Portland. Bill Cedric with a terrific drive.
The NBA, I think he'd be penalized for a moving pick.
Yeah. They're both going by Mike Probert there in the number 11 truck. Cedric recovering from that crash he suffered in practice. He said it was just a light one. It was only about 5 or 10 miles an hour. And a little bit after that, he said what may have been the most prophetic thing I've heard from any driver all weekend. He said, this is a pretty tricky racetrack.
He's in fifth spot on this pretty risky racetrack. Tricky, risky, both, I think. Yeah. Joe Ruttman's been having a handful today. He came out of the rear, and he continues to work his way back up. Unofficially, I think we have him up here at 12th. Is that right? Yeah. And he's come all the way from the back after he got the front bruise in the early going. Now there's Refner, and right with him comes probably the most experienced driver out there, and certainly one of the most respected in the entire game.
2 laps to go.
Driving that Chrysler number 30. Hard to find anybody with the experience level that goes with Jimmy Hensley of Ridgeway, Virginia. There's Ron Keselowski's 29, going on the high side and dipping underneath him. It's Hornaday, the leader, going by the 15th place car. Truck.
Getting close to that halfway point where they'll throw the caution flag and everybody is going to pit, get a chance to change 4 tires, work on the trucks, adjust them, and shuffle the deck a little bit. Hornaday, currently your leader. He will come out of the pits in the lead if he is still there when they drop that caution flag at halfway.
Coming to halfway, and they'll take a lap and bring him in. They actually will run a lap out of here. There will be none counting as they bring him back into the pit area. And the same thing when they exit to come back out for the second half of the race. So Hornaday, halftime, closing up on Walker Evans, that great, venerable legend of desert racing, comes down across the line and does not go a lap down. Oh, Walker got a break. Hornaday stomping on anybody he can find out there today. Walker stays in 14th. We'll take a break and be back with more as you ride with the man that leads here at Portland, Oregon, Ron Hornaday.
You want to go up on board and check out it?
Down here in the pits, Mike Bliss and Barry Dodson. Barry, what are you guys going to do? The truck, you run good in the first half.
Half pound of air out of the left rear tire. Seems to be good. We got a good match set to go back on. Good, excellent tire from Goodyear. It's our Martinsville tire. We knew it would be. He wants to leave it alone. What we need are green runs. The same as Wilkesboro. If we can get out there and run green, we're better. We were catching them dramatically, and he was calling us back saying that we were as good. We're afraid to mess with it. After the start we've had this year, we just need a good, solid run.
Okay, thanks, Barry. Let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Well, big Bill Sedgwick is sitting in his ride. He's got a smile on his face. I said your chassis looks about as good as anybody's out there. Maybe one adjustment away. What will it be?
I'll tell you what, that's why this is the die-hard team. I'll tell you, this truck is just awesome. We got off to a bad start there, getting stuck on the outside, but the truck is fast. We were about a tenth faster than the leader just about every lap. We're looking forward to a good second half.
If you've got a problem at all, where is it and how will you fix it?
We'll probably just do a little air pressure. It's a tick tight in the center of the corner. I know all these other guys are going to work on theirs too, but I'll tell you what, this die-hard bunch is awesome.
Okay, he told his guys over the radio, we can win this thing, and he really believes it. Ken?
He can win in anything. The 92, 91 Winston West champion, 16 victories. Bill Sedgwick looking good for the Darrell Waltrip team. There you see the standings with Hornaday first, Skinner in second, Mike Bliss doing a great job right there in third, and Rick Corelli.
And Sedgwick running in fifth spot, Butch Miller in sixth. Watch him in the second half, and watch Brian Refner in the second half as well in the 44. And Jimmy Hensley in one of the Dodge trucks currently running in eighth spot. Jack Sprague, who won last time out. came in here the points leader. He is in 9th, Portengay in 10th. So that's where we're going to be running when they all come out after this break as they adjust the trucks.
On TBS from Portland, Oregon. Hello, everybody. Northwest Dodge Dealers 200, Craftsman 200 here today, and it's a dandy. Let's go down to Ron Hornaday's truck and see what's happening. Here's Steve.
Ken, you're changing shocks underneath Butch Miller's truck. Here's Ron Hornaday. Looks very relaxed. Ron, you guys started 11th, took the lead. You made it look easy with very little practice, man.
Well, I tell you, we came here and tested Thursday. We had a great truck. Doug Richards, the guy's done a good job putting these shocks underneath this truck, and that's what this track takes. It's real bumpy and everything. This Napa Brake Parts Chevrolet's running great, but take my hats off to everybody. Flying back and forth to Sonoma, and Dale and Teresa and everybody let me do that, and Don Hawk setting it up, and the pilots flying me back and forth. It's a great deal. If we can make this happen next 100 laps, that's what we need. We're not changing nothing on the truck. We've done that before, and we ain't going to change nothing. So we'll just run it out. The Skinner's pretty tough. It just wore his tires out when he was racing with them. So we're just going to pace ourselves, keep this thing straight off, see what we can do with this Napa Chevrolet.
All right, Ron Hornaday making it look easy. Let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Well, Mike Skinner talking with his guys. We'll see if we can step in, possibly get a word with him. He's talking with Will Lynn about the changes they've made on their truck. We'll see if we can interrupt here for just a moment. Mike, you had a heck of a chassis there, but there's about 4 or 5 other guys that are going to make some good adjustments. What are you going to do to your truck, and what have you done, and can you make it better?
We've made quite a bit of adjustments. We've changed some shock stuff. We put bite in it, changed the track bar. I just hope that we've win enough and not too much. This is a pretty big gamble right here. These guys have really done me right in the past at the halftime break. So we'll just have to see how the GM Goodrich Chevrolet works out here for the second half. There's some real good guys behind us, and Ron's running real good in front of us. We were pretty satisfied to be where we were at right there for the first half. But I'll let you know in a little while.
Okay, good luck. Steve?
Dave Resendi's down here. We talked about him earlier in the race. The front end of the truck has been taken apart. Dave, we see oil on the ground. That's bad news.
Yeah, it knocked out of the oil cooler there. They're built into the radiators, and damn. Those guys are beating and banging. They would think that this is a 30-lap feature, for crying out loud. I was just biding my time. We're a little bit loose, but we were going to be good there, make an adjustment at halfway. But some of these guys don't think the same way, I guess.
Dave, can you get back out today?
Yeah, we're going to make it back out there and chase those points 2 weeks in a row. Tough, but, we're going to go to Monroe with high spirits and QVC. Ford, we're going to be all right.
Okay, Dave, thanks. Let's go back upstairs.
Yeah, next week we'll be with you at the Evergreen. Up Monroe, Washington, one of another highlight racetracks out here in the Northwest. And don't forget, Memorial Day, Turner Sports will take you to the 600 at Charlotte. Not only there, but, we had talked about that as a great racing day, that Coca-Cola 600, the Indy earlier in the day. But there's another great race that day that's going to be here on TBS, and that's the American Motorcycle Association and the Springfield Mile. They've been there as long as any race in the country. Takes about 12 minutes to cover 25 laps, but you'll have your heart in your throat if you've never seen those two-wheelers. They're going to be here on Turner on the same day as the 600. It's part of our pre-race show. We got a big pre-race show planned. We'll take a quick break and be right back as we get ready for the second half today at Portland, Oregon. The NASCAR Craftsman trucks are really having at it. Some of the great names have come from Portland Speedway, like Len Sutton, and there was Art Pollard and the flagman Pat Vadan. It started some 70 years ago. It's one of the oldest continually operating tracks in the United States. And it's hosted some very wild motorsports events. The flathead Ford coupes were something. Then the overhead engines came in. NASCAR came here with their Winston West Series starting in 1954. And for 50 years, a name synonymous with this track drove his first race here, Herschel McGriff. Guys like Herb Thomas, strong back in the 50s. In 51 and 53, he was the Grand National Champion. And in 1956, Herb Thomas won his 13th of a record 16 races in a row right here at Portland. 92 NASCAR tracks like this all throughout the United States. Every Friday night, 32 times all summer. Come out to Portland and enjoy some great action. Saw some great action last night. A little bit of rain. Little bit. My heart, they had rain all day last. Hail one day.
But you know what worked out right? When all that rain was pretty well ready to end, we had a great, big, beautiful rainbow right over the sign that said Portland Speedway. And we've got a nice sunny day in response.
There, he was the same when he used to drive, Mr. Optimist. There was always a rainbow for Dr. Dick, huh?
Let's take a look
Looks
at where
pretty
they are
nice there
running.
now.
Yeah, Ron Hornaday is your leader. Skinner in second spot. Mike Bliss, who's won here in so many open wheel cars, running third. Corelli in fourth. Sedgwick with such a great run in fifth spot. Butch Miller going to try to work his way up from sixth. Brian Refner in seventh. Jimmy Hensley in eighth. Jack Sprague in ninth spot. Steve Portengay in 10th. Let's give a call to him. He's one of the West Coast drivers looking for some sponsorship so he can keep running, going east. Joe Ruttman running in 11th spot. He started all the way back in 20th. Barfield, who had started way up front, got involved in a couple of those jingles and is now running in 12th. Mike Chase, a past winner here in 13th. John Nemechek, who changed an engine this morning when he spun a bearing in the practice session, running in 14th. Bob Keselowski in the Dodge in 15th spot. Kenny Allen, Doug George, and Ernie Cope, a past winner here. Dan Press, local favorite. Michael Dokken from Oklahoma City in 20th.
That Ernie Cope is the cousin of Derek Cope, former Daytona 500 winner.
Ricky Johnson in his first ride in the series, now running 21st. Walker Evans, the off-road ace, oldest driver in the series, running in 22nd spot. Dan Obrist, who was involved in that crash just before the halfway point, 23rd. Butch Gilliland in the 14. That's the Strop ride. He is in 24th spot. Lonnie Cox in his first run. This is the biggest racetrack Lonnie Cox has ever run on in his life.
In a homemade car, truck.
Absolutely homemade truck. They have built almost everything on that, from the brake calipers to the pieces and parts.
And the guy that sat on the pole is now down a lap. Barfield, he's being shown back there in that 26th position. There's the rest of the field. They're one lap away from a restart. I'll tell you, if they let Walker legitimately go out there and run through those blackberry bushes, he's an off-road racer. He'll pick up 8 or 9 spots, I guarantee you. Tough out there.
Walker Evans says the reason he is here and not running off-road is he says this is the future of racing. He said he just never grew up. He's still playing with trucks, and this is where it's going to happen, and he wants to know all about it. He is running in that 20th spot in the top 20. Just saw it by your screen there with a blue top.
Spirit of the Wild is alive and well in 57-year-old Walker Evans. Here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, we're in Portland, Oregon, and TBS with Dr. Dick Berger, and I'm Ken Squire. And down in the garage area today and out on the corners as well throughout the race is Randy Pemberton and Steve Burns getting set on a restart. And what a show they're putting on here with Hornaday coming from 11th into the lead. Right behind him, the guy who led flag to flag a year ago. Skinner in second spot. Lap trucks on the inside. And those super fast trucks on the outside breaking away with Mike Bliss third. Really in fourth. Sedgwick in fifth. Miller in sixth. Refner in seventh as they head down into turn number 1.
Keselowski at the bottom line just didn't get going on that restart. He was a lap truck, but that gave the faster trucks, the guys on the lead lap, the chance to just blow on by, and they sure did.
Second half. The pay half coming up. And the action, only 3 cautions in that first segment of the race. 14 trucks in the lead lap. All 32 still in the event as we get down through this one.
Hornaday in the 16th, your leader. But flying back and forth between here and Sears Point, where tomorrow he will start third at a Winston Cup event. Bemoaning the fact he's not getting frequent flyer miles to ride back and forth to Air Earnhardt. He's also ridden at least one way in the NASCAR plane. The NASCAR officials flew down here, and Hornaday stuck his thumb up in the air and said, "Can I have a ride?" And they said, "Okay."
He's getting some frequent flyer miles right now, I'll tell you. And he's got Earnhardt smiling. Skinner right there, that number 3 hangs on to the second spot.
And you just wonder if up in Sears Point, Earnhardt and Richard Childress, who owns this black number 3 truck, aren't sitting in the same truck watching it and kibitzing their drivers.
Refner trying to move in on Miller. Gets under a lap truck. That was Kenny Allen.
21:05, looking good to the competition.
Refner's radio. Brian Refner. Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. ASA champion.
Rich Bickle has just pulled out of the pit area. You caught a glimpse of him in that last shot. He's down laps now.
Rich Bickle going slowly down into turn number 1, the man that set on the pole with the Richard Petty Dodge.
John Nemechek in the 8 got way high coming out of the 4th quarter and almost got himself into the concrete. He's going to look at what happened to him. Oh, way high up. John Nemechek in that number 8 truck. Hangs on to it, though. Keeps it out of the blackberry bushes.
Oh, Ricky Johnson just down on the inside getting through.
He's not afraid, is he, at all, Ken?
Walker Evans right there. There's that number 8.
Changing that truck this morning, John's mother, Martha, was on the grass scraping the exhaust headers clean so they could put new gasket cement on it. Later, she was cleaning out the oil lines. It's a real family.
Yesterday, she was passing out the press releases.
Yeah, and taking pictures of everything going on.
Here's Skinner looking up at Hornaday, the leader. And from Hornaday's truck, looking back. And Mike Bliss just looking him over in 3rd spot. 109 of 200 laps now complete. 3 cautions in the racing. 4 cautions today, 1 at halftime thus far in the event.
Skinner now trying high side, low side. He is working all over the racetrack, trying to distract Hornaday. Hornaday certainly watching him in the rear-view mirror, going to try to protect his position. Skinner, meanwhile, trying every available line here in Portland. High line now. Bliss is going to follow Skinner, at least trying to follow him.
Just behind this threesome comes Carilli in 4th, then Sedgwick in 5th. Butch Miller back to 6th, Refner in 7th, and in 8th, Jimmy Hensley. Hornaday challenged on the outside. Skinner takes that upper handrail and pulls himself up. Not there.
Hard to pass on the outside here in Portland.
But he's done it once before.
Yep, turns are only banked 8 and 9 degrees. They're very narrow. The racetrack is very rough. Hard to pass on the outside, but if anybody can do it, it's Skinner. Bliss in 3rd spot. Experienced veteran has won here so many times.
And there you see the top 5 cars, all trucks, all bunched together. The top 5, all in that shot. Back to Sedgwick in the 17.
Corelli in 4th. There's Corelli in the 6th truck.
Oh, we got a spinner. Got that
73 of Dan Obrist. He was involved in a jingle a little bit earlier that happened in front of him.
First caution, 2nd half. Obrist around.
Get another shot at this.
Here's what happened.
Oh, yeah. He thought he was clear on the bottom. He sure was not.
Right there was Bobby Gill.
Yep.
Made the difference on that one. Or that was Mike Chase. Mike Chase was there on the bottom. We'll take a break and be back with more from Portland, Oregon, as the South, North, Northwest Dodge dealers bring you this event. Just taking green, lap 117. Hornaday leads them down. Skinner takes a shot to the inside. Tires cooled off a little. No hole there. Now there may be one. He's into him a little. Clear. And they give Hornaday the clear side as he comes out. 3. Bliss back there in 3rd, just looking him over, figuring that sooner or later these two may get in the jam session, and it will be his. His to win.
They're running that close. There's a berm on the inside of this racetrack. Hook the left front tire in that berm, and you're in trouble. You get too high, you get into the rough stuff, into the tire wear that's come off the tires, you're in trouble there. It's a very narrow groove. Hornaday hanging tough, hanging on to the lead.
Here's another look at what brought about caution number 5, going back to just before we went to yellow.
Riding with Mike Chase now, 73 on the outside. That's, oh boy, yeah, gone. Obrist tried tried to come down, thought it was clear. It was not. Chase gets by all right. Oberst doesn't.
Top three right there. Hornaday leading the number 3. Skinner right behind him. Mike Bliss in the number 2 truck. Rides in third. Carilli, number 6, stays fourth.
Looking good.
Sedgwick coming by.
That 75 of Gill is a lap truck, and then comes the 98 of Butch Miller.
Followed by Refner.
Yep, Miller is 6th, Refner is 7th.
And back there in 8th, now you see Sprague has moved around Jimmy Hensley. Hensley falling back and Sprague on the attack. Sprague, the leader in the standings. Bob Keselowski. Since the 60s, the Dodge mark has been represented by the Keselowski family. Both he and his brother have given it a shot.
His brother is the engine builder for this truck. A lot of the Chevy drivers were saying this morning that Dodge has an advantage because of the torque curve. So I went to Ron and I said, have you guys got an advantage because of the torque curve in that engine? He says, we sure do. He says, we don't have any torque. He says they can't break the tires loose on the racetrack, and as a result, the Dodge really may have an advantage at tracks like this. And all the Dodge guys have been looking forward to getting on these flat, short
in 8th spot. There's that second place Ward. Skinner there. Bliss trying to take it away. Looking on the high side. Relying on those spotters. Intense. Up on top at Portland, Oregon. Hornaday in first, Skinner in second. And now Carilli comes to the inside, down the main chute. Again, it's about 520 feet into 1. Gives it a go, peeks to the outside, tries to wide oval it and cut back on the inside out of 2. And it is so narrow. One shot, you got to get it right. Surgically perfect, or you've got yourself a handful out of that second turn.
Bliss was 5th here last year. Very, very experienced driver on this racetrack. Very popular with the fans here as well. Comes out of Oregon. All of a hometown driver, if you will, and he is on the low side of Mike Skinner. Just can't get by Skinner. Skinner now has dropped back from Hornaday. Hornaday has opened up some distance between himself and Mike Skinner. A good long green flag run here. Tires getting good and heated up. Bliss now makes a strong move on the inside but can't get it done. He is trying just about every lap, Mike Bliss is. And he's trying the bottom principally. Skinner having trouble holding his truck down. The truck is drifting up some.
Skinner has such great throttle control. He's like Earnhardt in that manner. He just knows where that throttle should be. No wheel spin out of there, and he just is able to get such a drop off those corners.
Throttle control here is so very, very important. If you use too much throttle...
130.
Coming out of the corner, boy, you'll just drill the wall for sure.
You can see how hard it is in that first turn. That number 3 that time. Looked like he just turned that right front wheel in. On the Skinner, number 3. Bliss again charging. 5th in this race a year ago. Mike Bliss currently in 3rd.
They're coming up on Butch Gilliland, who moves over to let him on by. Gilliland driving the Strop truck. He helped build that, gave himself up from work for an entire month to help build that truck.
131 laps complete.
Things winding down in a hurry, Ken. And these drivers know it, too. Look at Bliss trying to take advantage of the inside. Skinner having trouble staying down. Bliss looking for the bottom every time he gets a chance.
Who would have believed this truck series would have caught on as it has, Dick, a year ago?
Well, trucks had been tried before, and they weren't a success. But when NASCAR got involved, that's all it did, because NASCAR knew what to do to make this series a winner, and everybody had a lot of confidence in NASCAR. That brought a lot of teams to the series. They had some terrific officials here, managed to bring Craftsman on board, live television, and look at it now. Right now, here in Portland, it's the biggest house in the history of this stadium, which was originally built in 1924.
I think this grandstand was here in 24. Well, it was here, and then the flood came through in 28. They had to go down the road half a mile, find it, bring it back. Pretty comfortable, though. We sat here last night and watched the local division trying to do their stuff. Had a lot of rain, and the qualifying for these guys was great.
It's a neat place. Got the old wooden grandstand here. It's got the field of one of the real historic racetracks, which of course it is. A lot of the drivers with very little experience here. Skinner, who's right in front of us right now, this is only his second start ever at this racetrack. Bliss with a lot of laps here.
Yeah, and a lot of them, as you mentioned earlier, in open-wheel cars.
Fast
midget sprints.
Very fast stuff.
Goes around the 19, Lance Norwick out of Oklahoma City. Some great racers down there in Oklahoma City. Got that Ronnie Jones motorcycle racer.
That's looking good. Maintains that nice, smooth line.
Unless they just really wanted to finish. They haven't finished either of the two races that they had started this year. Engine trouble in both. In fact, they thought they were going to lose an engine right here in practice. The dry sump belt came off it in the truck you're riding with right now, but they managed to catch it, salvage the engine, put a new dry sump pump on it, and everything's okay. That's what cost them last time at Phoenix. Dry sump went, and then the engine went, and then he got tagged in the back end, and the whole truck went.
Here's 44. Clear. Looking back at the 24. At 7th and 8th position out there. Jimmy Hensel is in 9th. There you see Refner in that 44. This is another one of those guys to look for. There's Sedgwick and closing in on him. Butch Miller. Miller was back about another 3 car lengths. He's closed it down to about 1 truck length at the present time.
They're going by that lap trucks on the outside. That's kind of slowing it down. That's exactly what Butch Miller needed in order to get caught up, and he's right on Sedgwick's back bumper now.
Sedgwick in 5th. Number 98, Miller in 6th.
Miller 3rd last time out in Phoenix. He's 3rd 5 times last year in this series. Won once. Sedgwick never won in the 17. It's a new operation. As of January 1st, nothing existed. They built the whole team out of nothing in a matter of months, the Darrell Waltrip group did. Joe Carver here to head up the operation for that number 17 operation.
Well, you see 139 in our count. That's the official count. We're actually working in the 142nd lap at the present time. We'll try to keep it as official as we can for you here with our scoring system. Looking good in Portland, Oregon today. Ron Hornaday, Mike Skinner, and Mike Bliss. Laps up on the board. Hornaday and Skinner collectively won 14 of the 20 races a year ago, but despite their dominance, at no time did they finish 1st and 2nd.
Clear.
Just 1 truck out so far. Dave Resendez is the only truck out.
Buddy.
They were unable to get the truck back on the racetrack again. And we'd like to say hello to Bill Elliott, who we understand is watching this event. He's off at the hospital, and we send you a great big get well soon, Bill. We're looking forward to seeing you back at the racetrack again. Understand he's going to be out of the hospital on Monday, and we wish him well.
That is for sure.
Wild ride he took in Talladega.
That looked brutal. When I saw that thing come down that hard, you knew that he had to hurt. And
well, both his ride and Ricky Craven's ride, but like the trucks, the Winston Cup cars, everything NASCAR has its hands on, the vehicles are so safe. Safest race vehicles in the world, unquestionably.
Look at Sedgwick in the 17 coming after Carilli in the number 6. This is for 4th position. We're here in Portland, Oregon, and you're watching the 98. That's Butch Miller closing in another time. He gets up, falls back, gets up, falls back. He gets the inside shot here as he tries to work on Sedgwick.
It's been like one of those Middle East wars, kid. It just goes on and on and on. Lap after lap, they're shooting at each other. Here comes Sedgwick on the bottom. You going to get her done? No.
Well, maybe. He's got it hung on the bottom.
3 and 4 now.
right there.
Bickle right up in front of him. Pole sitter. They had high hopes for that truck. That's an ultralight truck. They have 400 pounds of lead in the frame of Bickle's truck. Thinking that was the fast way around. They hadn't counted on these spins and crashes early that put Bickle down.
Sedgwick just nipping away at Carilli. And Miller watching, waiting, wondering when his opportunity is going to come. Pounce on these two. Sedgwick almost had him once.
That's Butch Gilliland on the low side from California, Anaheim.
Next Saturday afternoon, they're back here on TBS. They'll be Evergreen Speedway, Monroe, Washington. Let's look the road about 3 hours. I tell you, the Sears folks out here they've done a number for these folks. Many of the stores in this part of the Northwest are actually playing host to these trucks as they get them ready for that next occasion, next Saturday. Giving them the facilities to work on their vehicles, try to get them back up to snuff, get them up to snuff, not try. You know they'll be gleaming when they come out next Saturday afternoon here on TBS. Walker Evans, 57 years and proud of every one of them. 18 times Baja winner down there on the inside.
Says the hardest thing he's had to learn in coming to this truck series is the radial tires. He's feeling the edges ever so hard on dirt. You can slide it, pitch it, throw it. You do that with the radials in this truck series, and the truck is gone. We've seen a couple of those earlier today as well.
That's that number 20. He may be back a ways today, but you can't take away those 126 major desert wins that Walker recorded. Walker really stays right in there. This is that fourth place battle.
What a battle it is.
Yeah.
Neither one of them's given an inch to the other. And it's a clean race. They're running each other very clean. They get side by side. Nobody hits anybody else.
Quarter laps to go. Just 40 to go. That's second and third. That's Mike Bliss.
Second place.
Just in front of
start finish line now.
Johnson, Ricky Johnson just pointed to the right. He told Skinner, you go that way. I'll give you plenty of room. Skinner went right on by. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Very gentlemanly. I wonder if he learned that at El Cajon. I bet Don Miller told him what to do.
Mike Bliss back to the inside. Barry Dotson, the crew chief.
They've got to win in that team.
Yeah,
First
you
time
have a
Dotson ever
good advantage right now. Just keep it up.
First time Dotson. Whoa, contact there. Bliss right front just came in contact ever so slightly with Skinner's left rear corner.
Before he ever went into open wheel racing, and he brings the crowd to their feet. Mike Bliss on the inside of Skinner, and they consider him a hometowner here. He's won a lot of races on this track. And the former Silver Crown champion moves around Skinner. Mike Bliss, now watch for Skinner to come back.
This crowd is absolutely watching this portion of the race and nothing else. They certainly consider Bliss to be...
Good job. Everything looks okay.
Local hometown hero. 3 wide on the backstretch, meanwhile.
Before Mike Bliss ever got into any of those sprint cars or midgets or those big Silver Crown cars, he was up here in Portland, Oregon, driving stock cars. Pronounce that Milwaukee, Oregon?
Yeah, Milwaukee, Oregon.
Well, that's where he's from. And we got trouble up in turn 3.
Trouble in turn 3.
It looks like Mike Hurlbert's gone around, and so is Bobby Gill. Yep. Caution is out. One's out burying, the other one's on the inside. Number 11, Hurlbert.
I checked, Ken. There's no berries out there.
Oh, you did, huh?
Yeah, they don't come until later in the year.
Yeah, then you have to watch out for bears up here, too.
Yeah.
That's the 6th yellow of the day.
Whoa. Look at this. This is on the left front corner of Hornaday's truck, the 16.
Looks like
yeah, he obviously got tangled up in traffic somewhere along the line.
Yeah, he got into Kenny Allen.
Well, that shouldn't hurt the performance of the truck, Eddie. Aerodynamics are not all that important
No
here.
truck over here in 4. Stay high.
The question is whether it hurt the suspension alignment at the front end.
Doesn't look like that hard a tap, but we'll get more about that story shortly. Ron Hornaday leading, but may be in trouble. Bliss now second. Back at Portland, Oregon, on a personal note, we take a look at the point standings. Hornaday in front, Jack Sprague, Brian Reffner, they could get bounced around today. Personal note, back in '82, my associates and I were pleased to bring NASCAR Winston Cup racing to TBS Sports, doing it ever since. And today, the NASCAR Craftsman trucks make their debut on Turner Sports. Hope you folks are enjoying this. It's great competition, and you're going to see more of it, including next Saturday, Monroe, Washington, right here on TBS. And coming up, Memorial Day, the 600 from Charlotte. And our special hour-and-a-half pre-race show, all the things that Humpy Wheeler has for us. Plus, we'll be going to Springfield, Illinois to see some of the greatest racing you'll ever see. 25 laps, 12 minutes. It's one of America's great institutions. That AMA stuff on the mile dirt. It's all coming to Turner on Memorial Day, the race day in America. Well, let's go down to Randy for a moment.
Well, as we watch that great battle between Bliss and Skinner over those 20 laps or so, we noticed Skinner's truck starting to give up. Bliss's did not. I put the watch on Bliss with Hornaday in the lead. Once he got clear of traffic, with Hornaday clear of traffic, Bliss was wearing him down. He was catching him. Now, he's going to line up behind him. It all comes down to tire management. Did Hornaday save a little for this 30-lap sprint, or will Bliss have a little left to go get him? It's going to be interesting to see.
That yellow really helped Bliss. He was trailing Hornaday by 2 4/10, and now, of course, he's right there knocking on the tailgate.
Well, the other thing we're going to have to keep an eye on is Bliss knows how to run this racetrack, and he told his crew before this event started, be prepared to put a new right side on this truck. I may need to use it up against the wall. If I have to, I'm going to. They said, okay, go do what you got to do. Getting down to it now.
You sound like a wrestling promoter there, Dr. Berger.
I'm telling you, this local short track stuff is
Isn't it great?
It's wonderful.
It's
it really
the best.
is. Because, you know, that is how they run. You take a look at these trucks out here right now. Mike Skinner's got a donut on one door. Hornaday, your leader's got a donut on one door. Left front fender's been torn up. These guys aren't afraid to rub wheels.
Ready on a restart.
Field not quite sorted out.
Lights off on the safety truck, and the trail's trying to get them sorted out. 170 complete, 30 to go. 170 down, 30 left.
Barfield in the 94 on the low side. That's a lap truck. It's a lap down to Hornaday, your leader in the 16 truck.
Mike Bliss started 13th today, now in second. When he won at North Wilkesboro a year ago, Mike Bliss started 13th. Having at it. Ron Hornaday Jr. following in his father's famous path. Right behind him, Mike Bliss in the number 2. Skinner falling back. He came up on the 94 Barfield and fell away a little. With 30 to go, it's a 2-truck duel coming through 4. Anybody got anything else left?
Skinner having a tough time getting by Barfield on the outside. Skinner currently running in 3rd spot, but as he duels with Barfield, the leaders are running away.
Look at Corelli in the 6, 17, Sedgwick. That's the battle back there in 4th. And just behind them, Butch Miller. 4th, 5th, 6th. 6 is number 98, Miller. And there's Reffner in the 7th, in the 44, running in 7th.
Top trucks all right together here.
And the leader of the points is back there, Sprague, in that 8th position. Oh, what a great shot. Out of that turn and down that main straightaway, they thundered. Billy Sedgwick having a terrific day for Waltrip. Those die-hard colors. And Rick Corelli, the High Plains drifter, drifts her down into number 1, lets it up a little as he tries to put a lap on number 94 Barfield. Meanwhile, out in front, Hornaday draws away by 6 car lengths over 2nd place, Mike Bliss. Look at Corelli.
He's got his work cut out for him. Barfield is not an easy truck to pass. He's a lap down, but he's running very, very well, and he is under no obligation to just let everybody go go by him.
Sure, he's running 11th spot.
Yeah.
All those points count. Rick Corelli in that number 6. Finished 8th in this race a year ago. And he's had a 6 already this year in that last event. Sedgwick after him. Sedgwick on the charge.
And this race has been going on almost from the drop of the green flag. And look how close they are running together, not leaning on each other, just a good, strong, close race.
Well, Dick, I'm so impressed by the driving in this race day. I mean, those 11 cautions last year, and they've cut it down to 6, and they are really putting on a professional show for these folks here in Portland. Now look at Sedgwick begin to nudge him a little. They know each other well.
Kissing close.
Yeah.
The drivers this morning, NASCAR told them, take it easy, behave yourselves out there. We will open the penalty box. Anybody gets too rough on the racetrack, you start pushing your fellow competitors around. We're going to bring you in, let you sit down, cool it off, and think about it for a little while.
But this is just short track racing right here. Look at Sedgwick. All right.
Neat job.
20 to go. 20 laps remaining at Portland, Oregon. And the NASCAR Craftsman trucks are looking great.
$250,000 worth of prize money on the line today, and these 3 drivers are earning every penny they are going to collect at the pay window when this thing is done and over with. High-plane strips. Rick Corelli in the 6.
And there's the mark of those professionals. You take it right to the wall every time. Get it right out there so you can get all the power and all the speed possible. Going into that next corner. Here they are back in 3 and 4. And look at Butch Miller looking on the outside, Sedgwick on the inside. And he tries to turn him loose.
He did a little bit.
Yeah, just trying to loosen him up. He got him a little loose. Sedgwick, nice piece of driving. That's what it's all about.
Corelli now stuck on the outside. Here comes Butch Miller on the bottom, going to follow the 17 right through.
That was textbook.
Yep. That's how it's done, folks.
You just have to get them a little loose. You don't want to turn them around, or they will put you in the box. But he got him loosened up, and then he shot him down.
You're going to go run a hobby stock somewhere tonight. Use this as a lesson. That's how it's done.
You're a big help. You get those hobby guys trying to do that, they'll have 18 cautions.
It does take a while to learn to do that. You watch the Masters, you watch the pros, and these guys certainly are. These are veteran, experienced race drivers in this trio.
And Corelli, what a job he just did, because that guy literally took that away from him. I mean, the control of his truck was in the hands of the 17, and he never missed a beat. He got pulled out of that lane, but he stayed right with the program.
And he's dropping back, too, which says what a good job Corelli did in holding Sedgwick off for as long as he did.
Now, of course, if that had been Earnhardt, there'd have been a little short braking right there.
Which Earnhardt? There are so many Earnhardts racing right now.
I'll bet they all drive that way. Yeah. Pretty exciting stuff on short track.
17 is currently in 4th position. Bill Sedgwick. 98, Butch Miller is in 5th spot.
Working lap 186 at the present time. You see the complete and the official rundown at lap 184. Try to keep you up so you know where all the players are out here. There's Sedgwick, who is now having to work from a little further back in that 17. Now here's Hornaday. Let's go back up front. Yellow is out. Caution is down on lap 187. I think we may have something come off out here. Turn 2, piece of metal. Last thing you need. We'll take a quick break and be right back. There's your leader, Ron Hornaday. Can he hold on? Mike Bliss is going to get one more shot. Sedgwick 4th, Butch Miller 5th. Rick Corelli back there in 6th, and Brian Reffner, Jack Sprague, Joe Ruttman back to 9th. What a job. Haven't seen much of Ruttman, but give him a call. He's done the job. Apparently, Rick Johnson had been leaking some fluid, and so they've got the kitty litter out and trying to get this thing cleaned up a little. Take a look here. There's the old red dog. Oh, gracious.
Oh, you can see it in the
blue
camera.
Skies, and look at that.
Yeah, lots flat.
That's why we're going to see the old
interesting that one of the things that they are testing in this truck is a heat exchanger system, and I wonder if that's where the problem is. They're using this truck to test a lot of things for Winston Cup, one of which is that they have a very unique system of cooling the oil off. They run radiator water through it in a separate heat exchanger. It doesn't even have fins, and they're trying to get things faster for Winston Cup. Oh, Resendiz just enjoying himself, sitting down, watching the race. I bet he'd be a lot happier behind the wheel. Hi, Dave. A lot happier behind the wheel.
He could be up on the Cape today. Doesn't have to be on here.
I wonder if he's going to go all the way back to Charlotte.
I bet he's loving it out here. This is a nice part of the country, and the race fans out here in the Northwest, they are terrific. They sure do love their racing, and they sure do know their history and their traditional sport out here.
He's got one truck in his truck to go up to Washington next week.
And that's a rebuild, too, on...
yeah, the one that's in the truck is the rebuild out of Homestead. That's the one they drove all night to get it to Charlotte and fix it, pull the all-nighter on it. They got a lot of work to do on this truck.
Kozlowski brought out the truck that was damaged at Phoenix and raced it. They've still got their fresh truck. They're saving it for Monroe next Saturday.
Yeah, Gilliland brought the same truck that was damaged at Phoenix. These guys do some amazing work on these.
I tell you what, though, this makes for some good close racing. You know, when we got good live TV coverage like we got, it just helps the whole series out.
Now, there's the spotter talking to the driver, just trying to settle him down and take his... I mean, that's like having a disc jockey talking to you out there, right? Yeah, you just got the TV watching.
And 4 on that win.
Get upset. There's several million people looking over his shoulder this afternoon. That wouldn't bother Ron Hornaday, Smith. A bit.
Did that driver just say he didn't care about TV, he just wants to win? I
bet he did. And that's what makes this series so great.
Well, we're getting down to it. This thing is almost over. We're going to have a racetrack that's all loaded up with oil dry.
But isn't that interesting? Because what that spotter was doing was what they were told to do this morning. Cool those drivers off, keep them focused on the race, and don't get them all intense. Kind of deflate them a little so they get right back and get ready for this start.
Yeah, track psychologists are all sitting up there on that scaffold just off turn 4, telling their drivers, be cool,
Did they help the situation at all there?
What, whatever they put on sure worked. It's not shiny no more.
There's Hornaday with that metal still sticking out of the left front corner, not bothering him at all.
You can hear the Hornaday folks talking to him. Spotter down to Ron Jr., following the footsteps of a very famous father out here in the West. His dad's some racer. I want to thank Mr. Chase for that onboard camera. Mike Chase proved positive that Ricky Johnson was having a little problem with fluid out of the back of that one.
Yellow is back out.
Yellow is out again. And Steve is back down with Rick Johnson.
Yeah, Rick Johnson has ended his first attempt here at the Super Truck Series a little bit short. Talking to the crew.
Was great. Everything was fine. So with 11 laps to go, I didn't want to sacrifice going in.
You gave it a great run in your first effort today. What happened?
Well, something came up off the track. You know, a lot of people had little silencers and flaps to keep their trucks quiet, and I think something came up and punctured my oil tank. And a couple of drivers, John Nemechek and Mike Chase, were coming up telling me to go in and something was broken. And I'm seeing the oil out there. I'm saying someone's spreading oil. So something punctured it, and you know, I just apologize to Nemechek and to Chase and to the guys for oiling down the track, staying out there. But my oil pressure was great, and nobody was telling me to come in. So with 11 laps to go, you know, we got down 2 laps, but still, I think we're put on a decent show.
Rick, you've gone from 2 wheels to 4. What do you think of the truck series?
I think it's great. You know, I really want to thank Red Dog Beer and the Penske Racing, Penske South, and Kenny Wallace and Don Mill and everybody for giving me this opportunity. You know, I'm a limited schedule this year, and the key was to be smooth. And what I was out there doing is just watching what those guys were doing. It actually helped because I got some free space behind the leaders and was able to watch them. So, good Lord willing, I'll be up there in the top of the row.
Okay, Rick, let's go back to green flag racing.
2-time World Supercross champion, 7-time national champion, and that's one of the reasons, just one of them, why this national series has become so important. So many champions from so many forms of racing performing here in the Craftsman Truck Series. And you're watching Ron Hornaday performing in first place here at the City of Roses, Portland, Oregon. He hopes that he's going to smell them in just about, what, 6 laps?
Coming down to it. If he wins today, it'll be his 7th career victory.
5 to go.
Bliss behind him has won just 1 time. It'll be his 2nd.
Oh, wide. Down to that corner. Number 2, Hornaday. Hornaday really getting to the outside. Bliss got a chance to move in on him a bit. Skinner comes with him in number 3. Last year's winner here, Mike Skinner in that black number 3, trying to close it down. Sedgwick moving up, 4 to go.
Skinner just running his truck right out sideways, coming off the corners. The tires are worn on everybody's truck now. Lots of oil dry on the racetrack. The track is slick.
4 to go.
Down to it. 4 to go.
Final moments here as we watch Ron Hornaday Jr. having just a fantastic run. Mike Bliss staying with him.
Looking good, Ron. 3 to go.
He is looking good. Hornaday slips up in the middle of the turn, diamonding it a little bit. Coming out of the 4th corner now, that big, sweeping turn. Good line is right. He's got a great line, and Bliss can't do anything with him right now. Wow, that was a neat lap, wasn't it? Up, down. Got around that lap truck so beautifully.
White flag coming up. Hornaday, 9th here a year ago. Looking for the gold, looking for the glory in Portland, Oregon. Mike Bliss going to have a great finish. Falls back. Truck length. Hornaday has led 161 of 200 if he holds it through here. He can take the point lead if he can bring it across. Here he is out of 4. Ron Hornaday's won it. Look at this battle line. Sedgwick making a move on the inside of Skinner. Not enough. Sedgwick in the 17 will wind up in 4th. Hornaday wins. He takes the point lead for the state of Washington by 8 points. He leads 161 of 200 laps.
Beautiful job,
Ron Hornaday, the 3rd different winner in 3 Craftsman truck races in 1996. We'll meet the champion here at Portland, Oregon in just a moment. Palmdale, California's Ron Hornaday. Definitely a chip off the old block.
The NASCAR Craftsman 200 has concluded. Here's Ron Hornaday climbing from his truck. The applause from the crowd. Get some high fives. Ron, congratulations. She was hooked up. You've had a heck of a weekend so far.
I'll tell you what, Doug Richards, the guys, we had one day of testing down here, I should say practice before the race, and, you know, I was back in Sonoma, but they put a good truck underneath me. This Napa United Brake Parts truck just ran great all day and flawless. You know, last year we came down here and shook the tires off the thing because we were too soft on shocks. This year, Bill Steen helped us out, worked with a good shock, and I'll tell you, we had an awesome truck. I couldn't do nothing wrong with it.
Did you save anything there with about 30 laps to go or so in clear traffic? It looked like Bliss was starting to run you down once he cleared Skinner, but once that caution came out, you proved that you pulled away. Did you save anything with the tires?
Well, I've been saving all day. I just try to run different lines. I ran high, low, and just see what I'd do, and Doug was keeping an eye on how far I'd pull away. So just trying different lines all day, what takes it. Thank Goodyear. They came out with a great tire, and Action, they're number 1 in diecast to me, you know, so a good truck. We did it up. We're going to run it next week.
Congratulations on the first win of 1996. He's been 3rd, 5th, now 1st. Now let's go to Steve Burns with a 2nd place finisher. Steve?
Randy, the man who was hot on the heels of Ron Hornaday, Mike Bliss. Mike, you gave it a great run, came up just short.
Yeah, well, the AC team got a good truck underneath me. We were a little lacking a little bit on power, but we've had to put mufflers on here, and that hurt us a little bit. And we were looking for a good, solid finish, and that's what we got here. And we haven't finished the first 2 races, so we need to finish. And we learned a lot here.
Do you think you could have caught Hornaday under any circumstances?
He was getting loose, and, you know, I was over driving it, getting loose, too, but I don't think so. Longer runs, we were better, but maybe not. You know, Ron's a good driver, and he's not going to let you by very easy. You know, I just want to say thanks to Wagner Brakes, Ultra Wheels, and Ford for backing us.
Well, a great run for the hometown hero, Mike Bliss.
7th career victory in the Truck Series for Ron Hornaday, averaging 64.217 miles per hour. New record for this event.
Oh, Hornaday is the point leader now. Jack Sprague, who came into this event as the point leader, now 2nd. Then Refner is 3rd, Mike Skinner 4th, and Barfield is 5th. Interesting.
So let's take a quick break, and we'll be back and talk with some more of these great champions in this Craftsman NASCAR Truck Series, Portland, Oregon.
Welcome back to Portland, everyone. And Bill Sedgwick comes home in fourth place. Boy, that's a nice turnaround. 30th, 18th to 4th. Finally, good job.
I'll tell you, this is a die-hard team. I mean, that's what it's all about. You know, after the season we've been having, I got to be happy with fourth. But I'll tell you, at the last of that first half there, we were pretty quick, and I thought we really had something for them. We made a little bit of adjustment, should have went a little far, but so many times last year we made an adjustment and went over the edge, so we didn't want to do that. But, you know, everybody else made an adjustment also, but the Sears Die Hard Chevy was running good today, and I think we're on the comeback trail right now.
Okay, congratulations on a good effort. Good luck next week in Moreau. Now let's go to Steve Burns, who's with last year's winner here. Came up just a little short today. Steve?
And Randy, Mike Skinner, third today. Mike, you said you're concerned about the changes at half. Did you go the right way or the wrong way?
Well, we went the wrong way. You know, we kind of guessed at what we should have done, and what we did normally makes sense. It was just one of them days that the truck reacted backwards from what we thought we should do. But it was a good points race for the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. I tell you, we didn't expect to run as good as we did. And the first half of the race, we had a good, strong first or second place truck. We chose to ride behind Ron there and just try to work with him. And then we were going to try to pass him toward the end of this second segment. And the changes that we made just kind of went the other way. But congratulations to Ron and Mike Bliss. They just outran us today. But, I want to thank Snap-on and Resist All, GM Goodwrench, AC, all the people that came aboard. And like I said, congratulations to the ASC Wagner Brakes, Ultra Wheels truck, and Ron Hornaday's truck, too.
All right, Mike, we'll see you next week in Monroe, Washington. Let's go back now to Ken Squire.
Full field standings here. Mike Bliss came from 27th today to 16th in the point battle. And Ron Hornaday, who has his own junior program going, Dick. Ron Hornaday has the works on the cars for Dale Jr., Kerry, and Kelly Earnhardt, as well as a couple of kids of his own. The old man had his colors flying today.
He's the scoutmaster. He's the guy that's the main welder. He's the teacher, and he taught everybody behind him a thing or two about truck racing.
Next Saturday, Monroe, Washington, the Nelson Truck Equipment 200, 3:35 Eastern on TBS. And don't forget, the Coca-Cola 600, Sunday, Memorial Day weekend. Hope you're going to be with us to enjoy the big one. Our congratulations from Steve Burns, Randy Pemberton, Dr. Dick Bergen, yours truly, Ken Squire, to the one and only Ron Hornaday Jr. for an outstanding performance on the half mile. The Grand Old Track, back to 1924 at Portland, Oregon. Hey, folks, next Saturday, 3:35 Eastern, Monroe, Washington. Be with us on